talk a bit about your relationship with Varanasi and how it was and how it is?
My relationship with Varanasi, I think every time when I go to Varanasi, I explore something new. It's an oldest city, and because I born at the place, I know the place. So it's a beautiful relationship. It's a relationship like that you have with the person whom you love. It's you connected. You always feel there's some beautiful energy. Uh, it's because it's only city, so there's a lot of culture, there are a lot of things, and I always saw in cinema, Varanasi, they mostly talked about Hindu culture and Hinduism and everything. But Varanasi, I felt it's more beyond that. Uh, it's a place. Every place is people's place. Place become place because of the people who live there. So there are amazing people there, and that's my relationship. मतलब जैसे एक महबूब के साथ होता है वैसा ही है. So that's it.
Can you talk a bit about how the idea of the film came about and writing and development process?
I
How
was
did it
writing
start?
this film from somewhere around 2016. The idea came. Uh, it I wanted to tell a love story, but I wanted to tell a love story that I for the common people's love story. I want to tell love story whom you see, but you kind of ignore. We know about we know about these dancers. They also exist. The weaver also exist. The people whom we are showing in the film, they all exist. And they also a saying in Varanasi that people say that Ran Saan Seedhi Sannyasi inse bacho to sebo kashi, means if you understand prostitute, it's not exactly prostitute, it's about the women who know the world, who understand, who go through a lot of things, and they're strong women. And Saan, the bull nature, Seedhi, stairs. If you go to Varanasi, there are a lot of stairs at the bank of the river. And Sannyasi, you see a lot of saints there. So from that saying, these things were coming, and then the characters started in my mind. And I saw a long time back in 2008, earlier also in my childhood time, I saw these women dancing, and people can do whatever they want. And it is in north side of India. It's also in, you go towards Kolkata, must be in Karnataka also, a lot of places. So women getting sexually exploited and molested, and that was that, like we talked about the bar dancers, we know about them, but it's happening everywhere. So that was very shocking thing for me. And then then I met them, and then after meeting them, I felt it's very important to make a character around them. So then this character came, Rani's character came. I started spending time in whenever I was going to Varanasi before writing, and then the whole idea started growing in my mind. Same with the weaver, because I'm very close to Kabir's poem and Kabir's philosophy. And there's a poem that Kabir says, Jhini Bini Chadariya, that everything is weaved very delicately. It's very delicate chadar, sheet. So the weaver character came in. The Muslim people, Ustad Bismillah Khan, they all live in Varanasi. Now Ustad Bismillah Khan is no more. But the weaver character, I don't wanted to show the weavers kind of going into the weaver story. It's kind of making a human, and they are also the part of. Then these two characters came first. After that, the Saan character, the bull character that you see in the film, Baba, who is in love with Rani. And then Jewish character. I was writing many characters earlier, other characters. Then the Israeli Jewish came. So I started traveling to understand the character better. I started living in the hostels and started understanding the character more. And then while traveling, I felt the Jewish character will be perfect, because also Jerusalem is the oldest city. So then these characters came, and then started weaving. I started weaving very organically. Wrote my first draft in 2016, and then drafts started. A lot of drafts, and then 18 finally I finished the whole story, and then I started. The casting started in 2017 with the after the fifth draft. Yeah, so that's the whole story, I think, and also the other things that you see in the film, the political side in the film, that started coming while I was shooting and while I was preparing for the shoot, became the subtext in the film, and I felt okay. The idea was to show the Varanasi in a very different in the way that I feel personally. Uh, so. It doesn't the main idea was it doesn't have to look like any other Varanasi that we saw earlier. It has to look like how I'm feeling, how I'm seeing the Varanasi. So yeah, then this whole story weaved, and then finally we shot the film.
I mean, on the same subject of writing, since both of your earlier films, documentaries, are
Mhm.
sort of outside of yourself, you have to do some sort of research. And when it comes to something like this, when you're telling a personal story, what is that like? Is there research involved? How do you balance, stories outside of yourself and personal experiences?
It always personal, never ever. I mean, never any of my films. You see, it's all very personal. So when I made the first film, also documentary, it was never okay. I have to make the film. It's just like the circumstances came, and then I made the film. So the holy vibes I made when I got to know about that women are getting sexually exploited, and I met a lady who was working with those women in Madhya Pradesh, and in Bedia Bachara community where the parents sell their own daughters, and these things were happening. So they were personally I got affected. If I'll get affected personally, then only the film will come. So it was also that time Rainbow's Holy Wives came because I personally got affected. I literally went to that place. I spent time with these women, and then a lot of beautiful incidents that happened, and that made me feel that I have to say, as a filmmaker, as something that I know and I love the way in this, like in the cinema, and I can use this tool to tell my story. So it always personal in that way. Rainbows are real. Also, I met like earlier my whole gender thing it was the seeing because coming from Varanasi, the small town, the gay, bisexual, it was not clear for me. I was also the person who's like, oh shit, gay. So then Rainbows Are Real also came when I met a guy who became my very good friend. He was gay, and then we were sharing, and then it was a very emotional moment. And then I felt I have to tell the story. Same thing with my short films also came. So it has always a personal something has to trigger me. Same here for this story. The personal trigger was there. The personal trigger. My neighbor was a Muslim, and all those things that were happening that I was not happy with this. So I went to a lot of campaigns. Spent like I was against all those things because I love this country. I love what this country is a really beautiful country. But whatever was happening, it was not correct. So the personal trigger was there again. So every time there was some personal. If I'm going back to the roots, yeah, only I took the decision that I'll tell the story in Varanasi in my first fiction because I know the place better. I understand the language better. I understand if I have to tell some story, and it's again the fiction. So I wanted something that I know deep down something, and then it will be easy for me to create that whole fiction at then. So yeah, it's always personal.
Can you talk a bit about how you found these two actors and
Casting, it was a long process. We did 2 years of casting. We spent a lot of time in casting because we wanted someone who can dedicate in the way that we wanted. It was not we were following any way of making the film. We wanted to break the actors that they look like they're part of the story. They are not like acting. Muzaffar is my old friend. We know each other from very long, so that was easy. Also, he's coming from Varanasi. The background he's also Muzaffar Khan, so he knows these things. And while writing process, also we discussed at that time. We shot the trailer earlier to get some funds and all. So Muzaffar was very clear from the starting. In that time also, there's sometimes doubt was there. Oh shit, Muzaffar is there or not? But yeah, and then we felt that okay, he's the correct person for Sadam. Rani it took a lot of time because we were getting the actors, but more than the acting, we wanted someone who can dedicate how I'm thinking the film. So yeah, finally we got Rani after rigorous casting process. Same with other actors. We also casted non-actors and all. So because casting was very important. Wrong cast can do everything. And then the whole workshop process, they went into this 2 months workshopping and all, and then finally we came. Yeah.
And a question to actors: can you talk about your experiences of shooting the film and developing your characters?
So after the part, I mean, when I was asked to audition, I was told that this is the film which will be immersive, with an immersive approach, and I was supposed to be in Banaras for at least before the shoot was supposed to start, and at least 2 months before the shoot was supposed to start, I was supposed to be there and become, and it was like living. So this was one of the things that actually took me. And once we got there in Banaras, we started, like, his process was to actually understand who you are as a person, the actor, and what attributes he sees in the character. So we worked extensively on the bifurcation of the two. And starting from the basic things of what you feel and what you do in your daily routine, starting from there, then to things that were coinciding with me and Rani were kept, and then you were sort of neglecting the ones that I was completely averse with. I mean, I did not relate with Rani, so those things really, for that I had to go out and be out there in Banaras, and we had support of a beautiful group, an orchestra group, who sort of would always make the women feel safe while they were dancing. So it was he sort of went there, he researched, and he got these people, and he got me introduced to them. So while I was there for 2 months, I would always hang out with them, be with them, and sort of, like, dance with them. There was a time, there's a small chunk that you see in the film, which was shot during the rehearsals, that he wanted to sort of see me on the stage and put me in that scenario and setup, just to, for me to prepare even better. And then things, every day was a constant process. Every second, every minute, every second of my being in Banaras was about thinking about being the character that I was supposed to be, and then eventually, like, walking and living like the character. So yeah, that was the process.
पहले तो धन्यवाद आप लोगों का, आप लोग आए, अपना समय दिया और फिल्म देखा आप लोगों ने। मेरे लिए प्रोसेस जो है, मैं चूँकि खुद बनारस का रहने वाला हूँ और काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें देखी हुई थी उस शहर में, मतलब भाषा जो लैंग्वेज था उससे मैं परिचित था, और बाकी सारी चीज़ें इन पे थी। उस जोन में, उस मूड में ले आने के लिए उन्होंने बहुत सारे वर्कशॉप किए, और जैसा ये बताते गए वैसा मैं करता गया इन पे ट्रस्ट करके, और जहाँ मैं गलत होता था, जहाँ ट्रैक कुछ वो हो, फिर वो लेके आते थे। और चूँकि बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग इसलिए रहा कि बहुत सारा गुरिल्ला शूट किया हम लोगों ने, बहुत सारी जगहों पे हम लोगों ने वैसे ही शूट किया, तो वो थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग था। बाकी इंटरेस्टिंग था, बहुत खूबसूरत लव स्टोरी थी शुरू से। जब पहली बार इन्होंने बताया तब से वो अंदर था कि इसको बनाते हैं, करते हैं। हम लोगों ने बहुत समय, मतलब इससे पहले कुछ ट्रेलर शूट करने के लिए आए थे, उस समय से कंटिन्यू हम लोग लगे हुए थे कि इसको शूट करना है, इसको बनाना है। उस दौरान ये काफ़ी उसको और लिखते गए और बनाते गए। तो मेरे लिए तो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग वो यात्रा रही है, और बहुत कुछ सीखा भी है। एक अलग पैटर्न से शूट हो रही थी, जिसमें हम दोनों को एक दूसरे की कहानी पता नहीं थी। इनका क्या शूट हो रहा है मुझे नहीं पता, मेरा क्या हो रहा है इनको नहीं पता। तो ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग था मेरे लिए तो।
I mean, I have an extension of the same question. Since there are two parallel stories, was it structured that way, or was it edited that way in the end?
The parallel stories, it was always structured that way, but in editing we were taking, like, we were spending time in that, how in the parallel stories, in the people, audience are always connected with that. Like, sometimes when you're showing the parallel stories, sometimes this only fear is possible the audience is getting connected with one story and then leaving one other story, but it has to be in the same scenario and same feel. So Banaras was also a story part of the film that we were also trying while editing, that how we can make Banaras as a part of the film and how much we have to go in the subtext in the film. So that came in the edit table.
The same question to Bhisma sir. How did you go about, bringing these two separate stories, but they constantly go hand in hand?
Right. So I'll tell you the background. When he already is a good editor, I must tell you, he knows the craft of editing. So he had already edited that film, and it was quite a longer film. But he said, "I don't want to show you the film." When we started talking, he asked me. I said, "Yeah, I would love to see the rushes, how the film looks like." So he said, "No, I don't want to show you the film because it will affect your working. You will start getting the storyline. I want you to take the story inside you and retell the story." And then we thought, so what you was asking, it was two different storylines. And it was shot like that, and his edit was also like that. So then we sat night after night and decided, how do we bring these stories together? And then instead of the characters, our third character was introduced, the character of the city itself. So it's a story of the cityscape. So these people come and go. So here, there is always a trap of cinema narrative. It becomes very character oriented, as if character starts telling you the story. So we thought, let the city tell the story. So there are abrupt moments where you find that these characters are together or may not be together. In a city, it's quite possible I come across another person and then I meet that person here. And somehow all these storylines are all tracked together. So our work was like having both these timelines together and bring it together, but not very, forcing way. It was just there. So yeah, it took time. It took a lot of time, a lot of nights.
I mean, on the subject of city telling the story, I think most of the film is, shot in real locations, and that's pretty common for, your previous documentary films as well. Yeah, what are the learnings of, documentary filmmaking that you bring to this?
Documentary cinema, it's interesting because one thing that it's everything is real. Like when you go to see the film, about this thing, everyone who is saying it's all real. It's everything. So you already come with this idea, and then the shooting process also in that way. In the documentary, we are doing it. Sometimes it's guerrilla, sometimes you're interviewing, sometimes also you're creating, making it beautiful in the way when the craft, documentary cinema craft. I think that helped me a lot because that was the basic idea. If you see in the film also, it's written that things are fiction, but there are a lot of things are non-fiction. And that was the idea to how to merge this docu and the fiction feel without, at the end it's a fiction, it's a story, that's the whole thing that's happening, that also Bhisma is talking. So it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot to create something and to experiment and to believe in the design that he wanted. So yeah, that's the I think.
Can you talk about designing the images? How did you go about constructing, and how was your collaboration with the cinematographer like?
Yeah, he's not here. It would be a good best person to give the answer. But he's again my very good friend, and we were the first thing when we talked. We said that it doesn't. I don't want again the character oriented film. We don't have to go and start making close-ups and start making mid shots and go in that pattern. Let's see the film from the idea that we are seeing the film from doorways. We are seeing the film from windows. We are seeing little far away. We are not entering in the space of the characters. We are in the space of Banaras. So when you're hearing the sound also, so it has to be in that way that I'm far away, and then the more the sound is coming. So other sides, other things are also making this place interesting while the character is there. So that was the whole idea, and that we started. It for us also it was because all our debut fiction. To go in that pattern and to tell the team and make them believe that okay, there's something that we are feeling it. So yeah, that was the whole idea, that it has to look beautiful, but we don't have to make it beautiful. We don't have to. We can break the rules and we can create in the way that we are feeling it. Because documentary, sometimes you see the shots, it gives the feel. So we, in the sound, in the image, we try to create the way. And also gorilla shoot, somewhere gorilla shoot was very important. A lot of uh, we can talk about once it will go for the audience. That the idea was to create the culture and also submerge the whole thing in the fiction. And that was also the process in the image, and then we were creating it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we can leave it to the audience.
So this movie is set in Banaras, and there are two parallel stories, and it's a very socially conscious film. I just wanted to know if you were inspired by Masan in any respect. A lot of things that you said sort of resonated with me as having watched that film. So was that film like an inspiration or something that you had in mind? And like, do you also see there are certain parallels in your films, in this film, which is thematically like that movie?
When Masan got released? Yeah. I think writing the film, kind of, the idea was before that, uh, when I was planning to come to Bombay and start to working on that. So never ever. Yeah. We also, we literally tried that the film doesn't have to look like any other film. So we were not taking any references in the film. We were literally taking the human references who were there while casting also. The people whom we saw, the people, because uh, Masan is also a beautiful film, but Neeraj is not from Banaras. Varun's writing, you can feel he's from Banaras, and that's there. Only the thing, because there two parallel stories goes, and there are a lot of two parallel stories all over. Banaras came only because I felt that I wanted to shoot this film in Lucknow. The story was little more commercial kind of angle. But later on, I felt Banaras is a space. So no, there's no, never ever. Yeah.
Hello, guys. The treatment of women in the two characters, like the Hindu side and the Muslim side, how they treat the woman badly, and you show the Muslim who was there in the character, who treats the woman in a very subtle and a very manly way. He's a gentleman. So, did you want that to come out through the characters of the film? That it's not like that, for the audience to feel it that way.
Yeah. So I think any situation, it's very it was very important because I'm working on women issue from long, and it is there because how this patriarchal society in the patriarchy, how we treat women, that's there. We always treat women as a man who we are. So I think that was the idea also. If it's coming, you can connect it. That's there. So yeah, it's not about Hindu, Muslim, or anything. It's about women, how they're getting treated. Into both the places where you see Rani's character, it's more vulnerable character, and because of that, you see how people are treating that character. But in the same person, there's a guy who is just connected with that person, and he is a man, and he's think wise also, but he's trying to do in a different, because of that Rani got connected. He's not in love, but some connection is there. Same with Sadab's story, you see that how he's coming and the background. uh, he is a very shy guy, so he talks to mannequin. The falling in love can be anywhere. So I think we all have this feminine inside us, and then if we connect with that feminine energy and understand that, then we start understanding the other person also. So that was the whole idea. Nothing specifically wanted to say Hindu mein aisa ho raha hai, Muslim mein aisa ho raha hai. It's just there how women are getting treated. That's it.
One thing I want to ask, like, I like the way you treated the silence in the movie. It worked out really well. The discussion you had with your cinematographer, like you said, right? You wanted the characters to be seen from far away, like that. When the women get abused, like we can hear a scream, and when they threw her from that car, and still we can hear the same scream. My question is, like, you already handle the silence very well. So like, why did you make the choice? Like, we can give this scream loud. You can handle it in quieter manner also. Like, we already know like what is happening in that car and why they're throwing her out.
Very good question. I had a long discussion with my sound designer, and we came with this idea that somewhere, because we are not showing, uh, and people also not able to understand who is this person. Later on, you start get connected. And he said कि वो तूफान के बाद की शांति ज़्यादा मज़ेदार होती है when there's a storm and then there's a silence. So then he said, let's here get little chain and let's put the scream little louder in that way. So it will somewhere, because the digital world, the audience are also not like earlier people. The feeling were much. Now the feeling wise we are also getting down. So then that's a creative decision that we took in that scene. Yeah.
Thanks.
I have a follow-up question. Did you guys sync sound or
Sync.
because I hear most of the slogans which is really said in Varanasi and places like that.
That came in the design. That came all
Did you
came.
get it while shooting?
So we had another B unit role that another cameraman was doing it, and so we shot a lot of things that's happening during the we were shooting the film. So a lot of elections and things were happening at that time. So we shot those parts, and then later we had a lot of footages, but later we took the decision then not to go that much. It was also that it was possible to not to exactly show you the real footages, and we can just create that thing also. But then we thought कि चलो independent film है, थोड़ा तो मज़ा करते हैं, मतलब yeah. So because it's organic and it's also wanted to give you the feel of.
How difficult was it? I mean, to get sync sound for a typical commercial film, they all do it in.
It was very difficult. Yeah, recording was difficult, but Piyush who did the design, we sat together after we finished the editing. So मेरा ऐसा प्यार अलग अलग. First my DOP was my love, then Bishu was my love, then my. So I think we spent good time, and I feel Banaras always have a different kind of sound. So I also wanted to use that sound to tell the story. So we created a lot of channels for that. Yeah, and then we mixed it. So purpose मतलब उसके पीछे there's a reason. If you're hearing a lot of sounds, is the reason we put it there. Yeah. So dialogue sync किया हुआ है बाकी.
Going back to the question, I wanted to ask Megha ma'am about that. I mean, those scenes are like really brutal, and I'm sure it's very emotionally taxing to, do those scenes. How was doing those scenes? How was that experience?
I mean, after I had spent a lot of time in just being the character, it sort of became a part of the character. And the scenes that were brutal was a scene when you think as an actor, if you're sitting there, what you've gone through. So he used to give us, before those scenes, he used to give us time to just submerge, and he would just. And even one thing that I've learned from him, which I follow all the time, is that in between the takes, there were several takes, and every time the takes were happening, we were not supposed to switch or switch off from whatever we are in. Even as a character, don't switch off from the situation that you're in. So that helped me. We did not take many takes for those brutal scenes. Just took, I think, 2 or 3 max. But I was given enough time to submerge myself into the previous experience that I had already shot and what I was feeling while I was sitting there. And so also we had the creative liberty of improvising on set. So situations were given, and whatever things that I felt like saying, because I felt something very strongly, so I would just come and confirm, and I'll just do it. So it was, enough time was given. It was definitely taxing. And but obviously that is the part of the building the character and just sort of submitting yourself to the character, that it gives you something, and then you give a part of something to yourself, to the character, and then just you grow into something else. So that was what.
While we're on the subject of acting, so what was the difference you felt between screen acting and stage acting, since you have a background in theater?
मैं इससे पहले काफ़ी टेलीविज़न में काम कर चुका था। थिएटर डेफिनेटली मतलब बिल्कुल डिफरेंट होता है। वहाँ बहुत लाउड होना पड़ता है, और इससे पहले मैंने ज़्यादातर नेगेटिव कैरेक्टर किए थे, तो मेरे लिए भी एक बिल्कुल नया चैलेंज था, जिसमें बिल्कुल आपकी आत्मा वो थोड़ी सी साफ़ हो, पाक हो। और यहाँ बहुत इंटरनल था कि इस फिल्म में ख़ास करके कि आपके अंदर आपको कुछ करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, कुछ ज़्यादा करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। आप उस जोन में जाइए, फ़ील करिए, और मोस्टली डायलॉग जो है इन्होंने दे रखे थे कि आपको जो फ़ील लगता हो या जो आपको लगता हो कि ये बोलना चाहिए, यहाँ पे ये होना चाहिए, वो बोलिए। और तो बिल्कुल ये एक तरह का डिफरेंट, मुझे खुद आइडिया नहीं था कि किस तरीके से शूट करेंगे, बस ये कहते जा रहे थे और मैं करता जा रहा था। जहाँ ज़्यादा हो वहाँ ये मना करते थे या रोक देते थे कि नहीं ये ऐसे बिहेव नहीं कर सकता है या इस जोन में नहीं जा सकते हैं। बाकी ये बहुत इंटरनल था, और इस कैरेक्टर में बहुत कुछ ऐसा था जो उसके अंदर चल रहा था। बहुत सारी चीज़ें वो कभी खुल के कभी बता नहीं पाया या कभी रख नहीं पाया। तो बेसिकली ये बहुत इंटरनल था और बहुत अलग तरह का एक्सपीरियंस था। थिएटर से तो बहुत ही अलग है। बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट कंडीशन में हम लोगों ने किया था। देव दीपावली, तकरीबन 2 लाख लोगों की भीड़ होगी, और वहाँ पे मैं एक अकेला टिपिकल जो है दाढ़ी वाड़ी रख के मुस्लिम, और पीछे माइक लगा हुआ है, और वहाँ सीएम अपने योगी जी आए हुए हैं। तो बहुत टेंस माहौल था, उसमें शूट कर रहे हैं, उसमें कई लोग आगे पीछे माइक देख के जाते थे कहीं बम तो नहीं लगा रखा है। तो और कुछ सीन्स जो है, एक फाइट का वो सीक्वेंस है जहाँ अदा के साथ बैठा हुआ हूँ, तो मुझे पता भी नहीं, इन्होंने भेज दिए थे 3-4 लड़के, वो अपने आए और वो रियल फाइट होने जैसा लग रहा था, तो मुझे पता भी नहीं। और मैंने लकली मैंने कैमरे की तरफ देखा नहीं, इनको देखा नहीं, तो फिर बाद में मालूम चला कि उन्होंने भेजा हुआ था, और बाकी भीड़ इकट्ठी हो गई थी। तो बहुत अलग तरह का चैलेंज था, बट मज़ा भी था। हम लोग सब साथ में रहते थे और अच्छे इंटेंशन से फिल्म बना रहे थे, मतलब तो और मज़ेदार था ये।
Speaking about intentions, do you see yourself as a political filmmaker?
I see myself as a filmmaker. Everything is political. Whatever you make, whatever you say, everything is political. मतलब the ad when you see, when they say कि use fair and lovely, आप अचानक गोरे हो जाओगे, तो that's also political. So I just see as a filmmaker, if the politics become the part, it become the part. मतलब every film is there is a politics there. So yeah, no ऐसा label नहीं.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful movie. It had so many layers, so many flavors. I really had a great time. This question is not necessarily for this movie, but just a general question. So I just watched this movie for like 90 some minutes, and I was literally so moved, just empathizing and just seeing the pain that these characters went through. You literally lived this movie for like 5 years almost. I mean, it would have impacted you a lot. How do you like draw a line? How do you not let the, emotions come into your personal life? Or do you...
Yeah, it's like more than 5 years. 5 years, so 18 से 23 अभी हो गया. Like still struggling to get the release. We have to get the censor, and we still have to take the decision that what to cut, what not to cut, and feel so sad that when you have to think also that okay, you have to do something still in the democracy that you talk. So yeah, went into a lot of emotional. I feel it's all the characters. While writing it, there's an emotional journey. While after the casting, when you are involving yourself into this whole journey, because you have, this is my process also. I have to go into that. I feel like the character, and then I write it, and then I get into the emotional feeling of that's my process. I'm not a writer. So that was the journey. Then after this whole casting, and then when it's independent film, and everyone is new, the producer is also new, then you have to do a lot. So literally I was carrying the film in the bag, or मैं ऐसा, and sometimes you feel frustrated, sometimes you feel because you have a lot of stories to tell. सो अभी एक फिल्म को कहने में 5 साल लग जाएंगे तो फिर कैसे बाकी कहानियाँ कहेंगे, और फिर उसमें भी उतने 5 साल नहीं लगने चाहिए. So yeah, it frustrates you a lot, because there's money involved, there are other actors involved, everyone, all the crew, everyone got involved, everyone wants to film to get released and everything. So that's also another frustration. But what see, when I made the film, it was because I love making the film. I love cinema, and that was the only thing I was doing it. So only one thing that I understand, that every film has their own journey. When I go meet the audience, मुझे लगता है अगर फिल्म रिलीज हो जाती तो वो फील मुझे नहीं मिलता. When first time when I went and watched the film with audience in Kerala, and the first response was there was a complete silence, and one guy said that, can I give you a hug, and he was crying. So that was such a good feeling for me. Okay, मतलब वो सारा कुछ ऐसा, frustration became like something that's beautiful. So yeah, the fun, frustration, all the emotions are roller coaster emotions. I'm here, and yeah, I'm still going, and hope you all can see the film. Everyone can see this film. The idea is to you make the film only for the audience, and especially the audience of India, because आप हिंदी फिल्म बना रहे हो, मतलब Indian film बना रहे हो. So yeah, that's the thing. So that's become important. It's kind of still, this is the journey that is still. So I'm having fun. The most important thing is I'm really having fun with all the frustration, the nights too.
I'll tell something on this. Ritesh is not talking about that. It's absolutely suicidal to start making a film without a producer, and he did that. And it only comes when you are really, really passionate, and that's the thing you want to do, and there is no other option to it. Once you reach that position, then only you can make a film like that. That I don't have any other option but to make this film. Otherwise, I know him for quite long now, and that kind of dedication to going, even to apply to any of these festivals, it is you. To do the sound, it is you. To do the get the money from whoever funders are, it is you. So that's suicidal. If somebody can do it, you really need to be passionate and want to do that film at any cost, at your life's cost also.
I mean, how do you even go about financing a film like this? I think that's always the question that comes up. A lot of wannabe filmmakers are also there in the audience, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and earlier I started with my own fund. Like already I was doing it with my documentary, because I know the kind of film that I'm making it, and I also don't know this whole Mumbai culture, how the producers work. I was very new, still new. So I'm understanding and learning. In between, I got a lot of people. Vishwesh came on the board, and he put some fund on the film to shoot the film, and then later on to finish the edit. The film got selected NFDC Film Bazaar recommends. So there we got a co-producer. Later on, we started getting, my younger brother is also here. Like sometimes I was also calling, send to this festival. So I think with the family, with the friends, we are doing it. So yeah, that's again the same thing. Matlab, you made the film, you have to let the people watch the film. All this festival thing was also very new for me. But when the film got into Tokyo, the film got some push and people started sharing. So 2022 film had a really nice journey. People were writing about the film and all. We thought 2023 will release it, but we also know, while I was making the film, I know taking the decision that I'm going in that way, and this is going to, all the new actors are going to be this. So I was ready for that too. That okay, these things are going to happen. It's not like, oh shit, kya ho gaya mere saath. But I was ready for that, and only the thing is, every time you have to get some finance, and either you work, earn, and then put the money, ask friends. Everyone was, and no one was taking that money that they literally deserve. Everyone asked because they connected, they felt nice, and they felt that we have to tell the film, and then yeah. So if the same film can go on 2 crores and all, but we made it in a small budget.
How do you go about finding a home for the film, and how do you distribute it now?
In-
And I think
yeah.
your earlier films are on YouTube already. Do you think you'll put this film also on YouTube at some point?
Yesterday I saw a film. It's a Pakistani film. The guy who produced Joyland, some Khusat films, and he put the film on YouTube right now, because Pakistan, they were not okay with showing the gay issue and all. and then he's asking for the money. So it's I think a lot of people, independent filmmakers and all over the world, they are struggling with the distribution. India distribution condition is really bad. When we go to the festivals also, it's not. There are no distributors. You'll not find the distributor. You'll find people. You'll meet the filmmakers like you. So I think we just tap each other's back and say that, boss, we have to go like that. Nothing else. You feel happy. We feel good when you see. But I think we still need a correct and proper distribution for independent films, because now cinema open. Like if you see in Kerala, the films are really doing good. They got them. I was in Indonesia, and they are making brilliant films, and I never saw those films. It's not on Netflix, but they created their own platform and they're doing their own films. So we need something like that. We're still working. Hopefully, kabhi aayega or we'll create something.
So sir, first of all, I'm really sorry अगर आप कभी राइटर से पूछते हो कि ये सीन का मतलब क्या है या स्टोरी का मतलब क्या है, तो मुझे पता है कि मतलब शायद बहुत गुस्सा आता है, बट मैं मतलब पूछ लेता हूँ आपसे जो जिस मूवी का मतलब लास्ट सीन है बिल्कुल, जिसमें वो बच्चे भी मतलब प्रैक्टिस करते हुए दिखाते हैं, उसका मतलब क्या है बेसिकली? मतलब द साइकिल रिपीट्स अगेन या
आपको क्या समझ में आया?
मेरे को ये समझ आया कि जो साइकिल अभी तक हुआ है वो वही चीज़ मतलब उस बच्ची को उसकी माँ ने मतलब जितना भी मतलब प्रोटेक्ट करा है, फिर से वो साइकिल रिपीट होगा,
तो फिर वही होगा या कुछ और भी हो सकता है. होता क्या कि इमेज है और इमेज के साथ एक आप साउंड सुनते हो, वो कहीं ना कहीं आपको कुछ ट्रिगर करता है. दैट वाज द ओनली आइडिया. दैट डिसीजन वी टुक ऑन द एडिट टू क्रिएट. वी हैड अनदर क्लाइमेक्स सीन, बट हमने वो राइटिंग में नहीं बट एडिट पे डिसीजन लिया. एंड वाइल डूइंग इट, बिकॉज वी वर स्पेंडिंग लॉट ऑफ टाइम इन एडिटिंग, and then leaving the edit and then coming back again and seeing the film again and then taking the decision. So while editing, we felt ki this image and the sound is giving something. We don't have to मतलब कुछ ऐसा बताना नहीं हर किसी बात पे, but वो image sound will create something in audience. So like in Sadab story that create, you feel something happened. You don't know what, but there is always a ambiguous thing that there's something is going on. You don't know why he did it, what's happening. He's going to save the girl, or this thing happened after this whole thing happened. You don't know. And that exactly wanted. We don't know that feeling. You feel it. Oh, possible. Is this he going to be in the same cycle? What's going to... The idea was to haunt the audience with the last shots. You go back and you just don't sleep. So I think that feeling was more important for us to give, not to tell something. Yeah.
I have one in the same context, like the ending scene where we show Rani's sister is dancing, right?
Rani's daughter.
Daughter, sorry. Daughter is dancing. So was it somewhere inspired from Jhini Bar? Because there was...
कोई इंस्पिरेशन नहीं. हम तो हम इतनी फिल्म में घुसे हुए थे, हमें फिल्म किसी और फिल्म का पता ही नहीं था. We were taking the
ending was really powerful, and I really liked the minimalism which was there through entire film. The minimalistic approach, right from the acting, the dialogues, and the script, and the ending scene. I just thought that somewhere it was like, were you inspired from Chandni Bar or anything?
We were just inspired from each other, talking, having coffee, and then taking the decision, because while editing also it's hard to, because you sometimes cut. We shot a lot of things, but you disconnect with the whole thing. And no, we never had any talk on the inspiration from any film. We were just going with intuition and our feeling that we felt. That's it.
Also, like one more like question I had, like your pre-production was like very very strong. As you said, you did a lot of research and everything. What were the challenges you faced, like while shooting the film, like shooting in a place where there is a lot of crowd, so how to control and how to manage everything? So what were the preferable time which you decided to shoot like many of your scenes? So I really want to like know that about that.
How much time we have?
We have another 20 minutes.
The challenges will take 1 hour kam se kam. So I think
no
that will go. No, I'll just give you the... Yeah, uh, we didn't take the permission. We decided also then we'll not take the permission because idea was to involve a lot of people, no, who are there. So it was always the risk and the challenge. Always the risk and challenge. It was also how much personally I can go with the character and how much I can trigger the character as a person, because at the end they're humans. No, at the end, because the process, when exactly the process they were doing it, is a very emotionally exhausting process. It's not easy process for actor because I am not doing it. I'm telling, but at the end I know, because I was coming from the theater background, acting background, so I know how much person has to go, especially for the Rani's character, because there are a lot of shades in with of the emotion, whatever is happening with her character. And because she started living the character, because that's the only approach. She got some costumes and she has to wear those costumes only. Same with the Sadab, and they have to go. So there was also that some hope nothing will happen with them. So the ADs are there. So also sometime on the set we don't have fun to shoot this thing something. So sometimes those challenges also come. Possibility because you're shooting in a big crowd and something possible, something will happen. तो ये सारा कुछ बहुत सारी, because I think when the lot of human involved in the shoot, and the team, we had some 30 people's team. So also taking them and making them also what you are feeling, and you have to live together for 1.5 months. That's also the challenge. You feel like father, you feel like mother, but at the end you have to take everyone and sync what you are feeling, because everyone comes with something, some emotion, some background, and breaking everything. So yeah, there was a lot of challenges came. It's विस्तार में ये बहुत बड़ा है, बहुत कुछ है. But again, the challenge always, I think when there's no challenge, then there's no fun. I don't know when I'll start getting good money for the film, and वो challenge एक अलग challenge होगा. But अभी का challenge, what I'm getting right now, I'll not get it that time. So the challenge is very important. मतलब without challenge, तो फिर there's no fun. Every time is learning. Learning also, when I'm talking to you, is also learning. So the learning is all the time. But I didn't do the film to learn. I just did the film because I wanted to say the film. That's it.
How much of the movie was the set design? How much of it was real, and how much was it constructed, especially for the movie?
All real. Production design was doing on the, like in the location we wanted to create for the Rani's house. So every place is like, we were also while doing the Reiki, we were trying to get the place that's very close to the character. Like if you see the Sadab space, we did a lot of research and tried to see the kind of houses. So we are seeing the house. It's a weaver's house. There's all big family living in the house. So that was another challenge, because it's a sing sound, and to tell them not to say anything. Every time in Banarasi you're hearing, and Banarasi people have some bull thing, will not stop. What to do? So these are the things, but we have this local Banaras people. I'm also from that area. So it was not that difficult, but wow, yeah. So Rani's house also, we tried to find nearby that area. We went to the places and met those women and tried to see how they live. So we are using the real, like how, like in the costume also, if you see, we gave them the the clothes. We bought the clothes for them, and then we got their clothes, washed their clothes, and then give it to the. So otherwise in the costume you have to buy the costume, give the aging and all, everything. But we wanted nothing that creates make you feel a shit. What's there? We wanted every time, like whatever we're getting, the research, the photographs, to design in that way. The production design was there, but there was no set. It's all real place.
And something about the movie which I absolutely loved was the attempt of communication between the Jewish woman and the Muslim man. It's just a personal thing where I absolutely love to see people who don't know the language try to communicate with each other and understand each other. And that one part where he talks about his parents, and he doesn't really have the words to tell her about how they died. And I feel like even if he had that option of making her understand, he wouldn't really be able to speak, because the not just the character, but the people who actually live through all of this, I don't think they can even find the words to speak, which I absolutely loved in that movie. And again, coming about the acting and all, I was really curious about what kind of workshops you like. What do you actually mean by workshops? Like living, like going research, and how do you like talk to your actors? So, which is a very curious
Yeah,
thing.
what I do in the workshops, everything I'll tell you in public, so then mera paisa nahi milega. I kind of workshop
Trade
for actors
secrets.
also. No. But yeah, see, people come from different background. Rani, Megha is not Rani. It's simple. Megha Mathur comes with the Megha Mathur, and as an actor. But Rani's character is very different. So there's something that as an actor comes with. There's something that our character has to live and work on those parts. So workshopping idea is majorly to understand the story, that sync with that story, how to get into the character, what is the process helping the actor to get into, not losing the track while they are. I'm a brutal director. In starting this, so many times I was like, things are not coming, and we have to. So I think also pushing the actor beyond their limits, how much, and also while thinking that how much you can go, how much you're doing it, how far you were, because somewhere you have to put a line, and that's also very important. So yeah, that's why there are a lot of exercises that we do. There are a lot of, and intuition wise also, while it was very important for me to understand the person, to get their or tweak their emotions, or to channelize their emotions. So that was also spending a lot of time with all the actors, with Rani, with Sadab, and the Jewish girl that you see. So if you see this, they are talking in the film. We try to make the distance between Sadab and Ada. Ada is watching Banaras first time, so it's very real, because only then you can communicate. We can't create those parts. And Ada is talking to Sadab also. This is the kind of, we decided not to rehearse those scenes and to make it as natural as possible. And we made like Muzaffar knows the character and understand the character. Doing minimalistic and creating, saying more was the most important thing. And that was the idea. That's a whole transformation of the character you see slowly, and later on, when you see this character, he starts talking more. Before that, you don't hear him much. Before that, you see his body language also. It's a very different mannerism in the film. And then slowly, the change that you feel. And making the character human. That's very important. When the character is human, then you can connect it. So yeah, that's the whole process.
Also, like, yeah, about Varanasi, the editing and the choices of lenses, everything, it really comes out as another character, which is really evident. And the color grading, usually when I, like, personally what all of Varanasi I've seen is like really warm, really, slow-mo romanticized. But this is another layer of Varanasi which I've never seen before. And I keep forgetting how big and different India is just from seeing so many people in one frame. It really reminds me of, okay, and I feel like, that is why movies are important. They really put you into the shoes of somebody else and what they experience. And I absolutely loved the framing and the color choice. And I guess more like of a thought than a question.
Yeah, thank you,
Megha ji, when there's that shot of the assault, the character screams out that ये हमारा शरीर है.
Yeah.
So was that an impromptu dialogue or was that something?
That was an improv, yeah. That's exactly what while I was sitting and thinking about the character, it was the second take wherein I realized that she has already gone through so much. She was thrown, and then she's already subjecting herself to too much beyond her limits. And now it's not something that she would have probably, it wasn't a different thing that he was subjecting her to. So he took it in that way. But the fact that he knew that she was so broken, and just seeing her as a body, I sort of felt that in the second take I got that, no, yeah, it's just what are you thinking of me as? Yeah.
He's a non-actor.
Yeah, the guy is a non-actor. He's a
Banarasi guy.
He also went through the workshop.
Hey, hi. Thanks for this beautiful movie. Basically, I also come from the same background. I lived there in Banaras for 5 years, so I kind of connected with the story. and it hit me hard. But I wanted to know, how did you guys shoot the whole orchestra scene? And I saw that the subtitles were very literal for the songs and all. I kind of understand the whole their language, you know. I've heard those songs. Was there any conscious choice to choose these kind of songs only, or you had another options also? So yeah.
No, I mean, there are songs like that, but we designed our own song to save ourselves from the copyrights and all. She practiced on the Tip Tip Barsa Pani, but पता चला वो rights में पैसे चले जाएंगे बाद. So then we changed it. But the other songs that you hear, there's some Bhojpuri song that we took it, and we'll see the rights का जब problem आएगा.
I heard one song already there.
Yeah. But some songs we designed it. That was because also I'm hearing these songs, and I always, whenever going the bus or something, when you hear it and people are playing, so much exploiting, so much, like it feels so sad, and it feels like what's happening in Bhojpuri world, yaar. Matlab, it's an amazing place. There are a lot of possibilities of cinema there. So that was the decision to use, because the women dance on those kind of songs, and then because of that it's more easy for the men to kind of molest them and use them and all. So that, but for the orchestra dances, it's again because Megha already shared, we went I wanted Megha to go on stage and to feel it, because as an actor, always actor tries, no? But when you're not experienced, it's not like you always have to experience कि खून करना है तो खून कर दो. But it was a very different approach. So we took Megha, me, my DOP, Megha, and one more guy from Banaras. We took Megha to where the orchestra dance was happening. The second orchestra dance that you see, the second time. And the women with whom Megha was spending time and understanding the language and the character, she was dancing. She has to present. So Megha also went there as a Rani character, and she's dancing. So people don't know that she's not a dancer or she's an actor. People thought that she's a dancer. People can do anything and all. So we had their safety thing. So वो जैसे ही dance किया इसने, the new girl came in the market. Everyone was happy. Everyone asking for the money and कि कितना लगेगा. और फिर हमने इसको गाड़ी में डाला. मैंने कहा भागते अभी पंगा हो जाएगा. So that realism only we can get. Second, that's in the first जो फिल्म में पहली बार आता है आप देखते हो, that we created it. Means like not created, मतलब we announced in the village, because juniors को बुला के वो नहीं हो सकता है. And the kind of people you see in the film. So we announced in village that there is a dance happening. They also don't know that Megha is an actor. And we called the real dancers, we paid them. उनका भी, और हमने वहाँ पे गांव पे बुलाया, लोगों को बुलाया, and they were dancing and they were watching. But when we started taking a lot of shots, then they understand कि अच्छा कुछ तो ये चल रहा है जो सिनेमा है. But in starting we had 2 cameras there. We got the reactions of the people. So that time हमारे cameraman, everyone was like in that dress, village वाले dress में. हम सब वैसे कोशिश कर रहे थे जितना possible. So किसी का ध्यान नहीं जाए. So you see the person who is throwing the child is throwing. If I will tell that child to do, और ये बच्चे जो non actor हैं नहीं हो पाएगा. But when you see in the camera चुपके से we are taking those shots, we know we'll get that. Only Megha knows. तो मेघा को ठंडे पानी में वो इसकी बहुत मेहनत किया इसने. उसको डांस करना पड़ रहा था, कई सारे टेक्स हम ले रहे थे because there are different angles in the shots. So yeah, that's it. So we created in that way. Yeah.
एक सवाल नहीं, इससे ज़्यादा कमेंट किया. पूर्वांचल के बारे में ये फिल्म बनाई आपने, और पूर्वांचल के बारे में एक और फिल्म मेकर आचल मिश्रा के बना रहे हैं, और उनकी जो फिल्में हैं वो जब सीन को दिखाते हैं, it's a more like a larger scene and he shows the landscape. Whereas for your films it's more of the personalized internal takes of the houses, of the rooms. There are frames involved. It shows the internal lives of the people. So just something I just wanted to.
I think हम दोनों different लोग हैं.
Yes, बिल्कुल, of course.
वही.
It's not a comparison.
हाँ, इसीलिए ऐसे ही, मतलब if you make the film in पूर्वांचल, it will come in a different way. तो कोई भी बनाएगा तो अचल का एक different take है, मेरा एक different take है, दोनों अच्छे दोस्त हैं. That's it. I love his films.
Documentary filmmaker, I wanted to know if you had any influence from observational documentaries
feeling like that?
It influenced from all my experience, my life, my journey, my filmmaking, everything.
Good evening to everybody present. I want to thank you first for taking time out on this pleasant Saturday to sort of talk about your film. I also want to thank Bangalore Film Forum for giving us the space to sort of enjoy cinema in the way that we have. I think I had a question about Kabir actually, but considering that we have sort of gone through contextually editing, all the logistics and the pain it takes to make a film, I just want to ask you, how do you feel in like general? Because this is half a decade's times, all magnified into something. And you did say you make a cinema for an audience. But at the end of that, as somebody who was telling the story, how do you feel?
Feel that, okay, finally I told the story. That and people are watching it. Because once you finish the film, you feel कि क्या कचरा बनाया है, मतलब क्या ही किया है. So because then we all were spending time, मतलब after the actors, in the film, the whole journey. But again, those when you see the audience and how they're reacting and the people who are in the film journey, Anurag really loved the film. Nikhil watched the film and he loved the film. Anand Patwardhan loved the film. It's a nice feeling. It says that, okay, what I wanted to say, I'm saying it without thinking much कि ऐसा होता, वैसा होता, ऐसा हो सकता था. So finally you made the film, it's done. It's over. Now the film is with all of you. So हमारी तो कहानी खत्म हो गई, तुम लोगों की कहानी है. You guys have to take the film further. Watch, tell people and comment on today this digital world ना. अगर इंस्टाग्राम पे कमेंट्स नहीं हुए तो फिल्म का पता ही नहीं चलता है. So do that, tag us and good feeling, nice feeling. But I'm literally want कि अच्छा अभी ये फिल्म लोगों तक पहुंच जाए, हो गया काम. नेक्स्ट फिल्म पे काम करना है, बहुत सारी फिल्में कहनी है, बहुत सारी कहानियाँ. So I'm working on that. Yeah, that's it.
I think we can end it with that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.